Most HR professional in Kerala, Mr. Johnson Matthew. He has more than 30 years of professional experience in HR leadership. He started his career in Indian Aluminium Company, then Soft Systems, Tata Telecom Limited, Popular Vehicles and Services Limited. Presently, he is Senior VP Corporate HR of Synthite Industries Private Limited. His major stint was with Popular Vehicles and Services Limited. There he was associated for 17 years and he was VP HR at the time of leaving. Mr. Johnson Matthew is a well-respected person and well-known person in managerial fraternity, and he is member of many organizations, associations, and presently he is National Council member of NIPM representing Southern region and Joint Secretary of Kerala Management Association. He is also a co-convener of a Confederation of Indian Industries HRIR panel. He was former Secretary and Vice Chairman of National NIPM Kerala chapter. Considering his contributions, KMA has awarded Best Manager in 2018 and he also received the Best HR Manager Award from NIPM Kerala chapter in 2008. While he was HR head of Popular Vehicles, Popular Vehicles received 5 times Best HR Practices Award from Maruti India. So that was his contributions, and he is very strong in professional networking. Today, he is going to take a session on Be a Winner. Welcome, dear Johnson sir. Over to you for your session, Be a Winner.
Right. I'm also thankful to the organizers of this logarithm program, especially the HR Tech team members. The younger generation in NIPM Kerala chapter is very active. They have taken the lead and they're organizing this program. I'm extremely happy, the Shema, and including Anand. At some point, we all got this rare opportunity of, listening to people. Maybe 30 years back or 32 years back, I got this opportunity. That is why today I'm able to talk to you. So I always take it as a great privilege to be with budding upcoming managers like each one of you. So it's a great privilege. I'm really delighted to be with all of you. I'll be sharing with you a brief presentation. After the presentation, we can have interaction also. If you have any doubts, you can post questions to me, or you can use the chat box for putting in your questions. That can be the modus of operandi. And I'd like to especially appreciate the organizing team once again for this great initiative. This is a very rare privilege for all of you because I think in none of the chapters of NIPM, we have got 54 chapters in the country. This is the only chapter where this sort of innovative programs are happening. So that means this chapter has got a lot of innovative brains. So keep up the good work, my dear upcoming HR professionals. This is a great work. With this brief, I will move on to the presentation. Let me share the screen and then we move on. Thank you. So let us spend a few minutes looking at, how can be a winner. Winner means, a person who is an achiever, a successful person. So I'll share with you some of my thoughts and a bit of my practical experience also I'll add on to this thoughts. When we look at a winner, the basic point is, that's a famous saying by William Arthur Ward. It talks like this: The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change, and the realist adjusts the sail. That's very important. There are three categories of people when it comes to winning. The pessimist always they complain about the wind, and they don't do anything about it. The optimist, he is reasonably optimistic, and he expects the wind to change after some time. And the most important and the practical man, the realistic man, he adjusts the sail. I think that is very important in our day-to-day life. There is no point in complaining about things. There is no point in waiting for something to happen. We need to adjust the sail and move on. That is the introductory point I want to tell you. And again, in the art of winning, one important thing is communication. We need to constantly communicate, whether it is in the organization, whether it is in any professional body, whether at home or in our society, wherever we are, we need to communicate. We need to give the right communication. If you don't communicate, people might get a lot of wrong information. Not only that, if the communication is passed on from one channel to the other channel and to the next channel, maybe after 4 or 5 levels, it gets distorted. That's the issue with communication. People might perceive something else. At the starting point, we say something. At the final stage, the receiver gets some other message. So the art of communication is a very important quality to become a leader or a winner. Another point we have to look at is, are we open to change? Today's world, with the COVID coming in, the era is split into two. There is something called pre-COVID and post-COVID era. So change is constantly happening. Now today we are able to interact on this platform. It is not by design. By default, we are using this webinars now. All across the world, this has become the order. So I have quoted a small example of a mobile handset. I don't know how many of you remember a mobile handset in 1995. It used to be a very big instrument. It's not a small instrument. Now we have a very handy instrument like this. But that time it used to be almost 3 times of this, a mobile handset in 1995. Now today, technology has improved and we are able to have various versions which are of much better quality. So that shows change is a constant thing. Are we open to change? Are we responding to change? I think that's if you want to survive in today's competitive world, in the business environment, we need to be open to change. We need to be inclusive leaders. I'm sure you are all upcoming HR professionals. So as a leader, we need to be including everybody. If I look at an organizational perspective, we have to include everyone in the system. We may be working in an HR team, but there is another finance team, there is another marketing team, there is another R&D team, there is an MD's office, and various offices. So are we able to include everybody? As an HR catalyst in the organization, we have to include. We are having an inclusive style where we include everybody, we take everyone into consideration, and we take it as a combined move. That's also very critical in today's world. Again, in winning, I'll always emphasize on values and ethics. We can make some progress for some time through some techniques, but unless it is value driven, unless it is ethics driven, it won't sustain. When I say values, whatever we do, if I capture those things on a video camera, can I show it in front of 10 people? Then what I'm doing is ethically right. If I'm not able to show it in front of 10 people, then there is something wrong. So that's a simple test of ethics and values. So you are seeing in the corporate world also, some companies are getting into severe issues because they don't have that ethical code in them. So to survive in today's world, for the organization and for professionals like us and for upcoming professionals like you, values and ethics plays a major role. If you talk to any leader, they will say their important quality is the people skill. Whatever skill you possess, if you don't have the skill of handling people, connecting with them, aligning with them, moving ahead with them, success will be very difficult, especially in today's competitive world. I can tell you, I used to work with the Popular Vehicles earlier. That's a company where, cars are being sold. Why I'm quoting that example is, you get the same car, you go to any dealership in the country or abroad, wherever you go, you get the same car. There is no difference at all. Then what makes the difference? It is the people. The people there makes a big difference. You know, the type of reception that you get there, the way the security guard greets you there, or the way the front office person treats you there, that is going to be a differentiating point. So people skills are going to be very, very important at the leadership level and at the employee level. How we are going to connect with our fellow human being is a very important requirement to become successful and to be a winner. Again, coming to the management, table, one important skill I have utilized is the persuasion skill. You might come across various situations where you are not able to move on. Then what we need to do? We need to persuade. You need to persuade your subordinates. You need to persuade your colleagues. You need to persuade your superiors. Maybe in HR and all, I think you have to persuade your superiors for certain decisions which are good for your employees. As an HR person, you are going to be a connecting link between the management and the employees. There are companies with 500 people, 2,000 people, 5,000, 10,000, etc., etc. So my point is, are you able to connect people through a persuasion skill? At times, the boss may say, this will not work, so don't give up. If you're convinced of something, you need to further take it forward. Maybe the second level, the third level, and finally you have to make it happen. It is not the jargons that matters in management or in HR management. It is a skill of persuasion. That's a very important tool we need to really practice. Don't give up, because that is not what we do in HR. Based on my last so many years of experience, I can talk to you. This is a very powerful, point of persuasion, because certain things would not have happened. Suppose you would not have taken a persuasion approach in that particular issue. So, my dear young generation coming up, this is a point we need to seriously note in your future practice. Persuasion skills, develop it. You might go wrong, no problem, but don't give it up. Slowly move on. You'll be able to master this persuasion skill. Are you able to prioritize things? In today's world, everything has to happen yesterday. That's where we are all operating. So we need to have a proper prioritization. So I'm going to talk about in time management also, that is coming up in another slide. So are we able to prioritize the important things at this point of time and move it ahead? Very, very important tool for leaders and winners. Networking skills. I'm happy to note that you are closely connected with professional bodies like NIPM and various other bodies. When you network, you are getting a lot of information. This information that we are discussing today or yesterday or tomorrow, this you will not see in any other book. This is only with certain individuals, and they are willing to share also. So please do network. I still recollect when I was a student in 87, 89 period at Rajagiri B School, I used to attend all the meetings at NIPM or at KMA, any meeting. I have listened to the great leader like Britannia, Rajan Pilla, and many others, and Sam Petroda. I still recollect. They come and share certain important information that may be part of a book, that knowledge from their practical wisdom they are sharing. So we need to attend meetings. We need to network with the professionals and other learned people so that you gain a lot of practical experience. How do we become more successful? How do we become a winner? You associate yourself with more and more successful people. Just associate with them. Automatically you become more successful. So I'm happy that you are now associating with the NIPM people, the HR team members. So that's a shortcut to success. Please continue to utilize that. Continue to network more with more people. Every day you utilize social media. You have Facebook, LinkedIn, and various other forums. Utilize that and develop your network. Put certain targets. Say, I need to have 1,000 people in my network, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Likewise, you develop your network in social media. And again, through contacts also, personal contacts, build on contacts. Very important. Relationship management is also very important. At the end of the day, our network is our network and relationship. It is not your bank balance. I can tell you, whatever is your bank balance, it doesn't matter. To a certain point, it matters. Beyond that, it is your networking skill, it is your relationship skill that matters. Are you able to maintain your relationship? You may develop certain positive relationships, but if you're not able to maintain, it won't benefit. If you have that habit of keeping it up, that is very, very important point. In the management world, appreciating people is a very, very important skill. Not only in management, as students, management students, are you able to appreciate your friends, somebody doing a good job, somebody helping another person? I think this is very important. In organization, we always say even a small achievement has to be celebrated, because small achievements lead to a bigger achievement. So appreciate, develop that systems. You can have formal systems, you can have informal systems of appreciating people. This is a very important trait for a winner. You will also agree with me, if you don't manage the present, we will not reach anywhere. So we need to manage the present. Like people say, live in the present moment. If you want to be more and more successful, if you want to be a winner, manage the present well. Live in today's moment. This moment you have to live. Then of course we need to selectively forget the past. Because in the past, there might be certain achievements, no harm. You keep on those good memories. There might be certain failure in the past. I'm telling you, failure gives you more lessons than success. So take the lessons from the past and then come to the present and then create the future. We need to create our future with a clear goal. We need to have a clear goal as to where I want to reach. As a professional, where I want to reach. On the personal front, where I want to reach. On the social front, where I want to reach. Or it can be different dimensions. There can be different goals, your health goal, your spiritual goal, various things you can work out. So emphasis on living in the present, taking the good lessons from the past. It can be good or bad. Keep it in mind and create the future with a lot of optimism. What drives us ahead is nothing but a lot of optimism. You need to be always optimistic in life. Now, you look around. Yesterday and the day before yesterday, we were seeing a lot of news in the TV and the newspaper, suicide news. People are losing hope. I can tell you, just a momentary intervention would have saved so many lives. That's very important. A momentary intervention from somebody. There are certain critical moments in life. People think that everything is lost. But are they really losing it? No. It's all in the mind. So we need to develop mechanisms to address to those issues of people in the mental level. We need to support them. Back to organization, we need to be proactive. We cannot be reactive. If you go to a canteen, I'm sure Anand will agree. Problem comes up. That's a reactive approach. But as learned professionals, we need to develop a proactive approach. We know quality of food is bad. The quality of sambar said there is not up to the mark. So as an HR person, you need to foresee that, take corrective step, talk to the people who are preparing the food, maybe to the supplier of food material, and then take a corrective step. That's called proactiveness. Professionals, we need to be proactive, not to be reactive. Today's world is full of proactive movements. Again, my humble appeal to all of you is look at a SWOT analysis for you. SWOT analysis, I'm sure you're aware, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. At the personal level, you can do a SWOT analysis. As a professional, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses or areas for improvement? Again, look at the opportunities, look at the threats also. Not only at the organization, at the individual level, you can look at the organization level also. Maybe at your B school level, or maybe if you're associated with an organization, look at some of the points of the SWOT analysis. This is going to be a great support for you in your future professional career. Even I have done various SWOT analysis for my organizations and taken a lot of corrective steps. Maybe with regard to competition, you can bring in a point. I'm telling you, my friends, Now, HR people are in great demand. The HR people who can add value to the bottom line of the organization. It is not that you say something and you do something else. You have to always walk the talk. And you have to quantify the work that you're doing to the organization in terms of rupee to the balance sheet of the organization. What is the contribution that each one of us is making? That's the way HR is getting evaluated. So let us get prepared for that. Bottom value addition in the balance sheet. Are we able to quantify? Please think about it. Of course, the art of listening is again a great quality to be a successful leader, successful a winner. Because in listening, what is happening is when I talk, actually I'm only sharing whatever I know. So it is very, very minuscule. But when it comes to listening, the point is you get more knowledge, you get more ideas because you are getting something which you don't know. So actually, that is why we have got 2 years to listen more and only one mouth to speak less. So develop the art of listening because you get more knowledge, more ideas, you get a lot of new perspectives. So to be a very effective, successful HR professional, this is a very, very powerful point, the art of listening. I can tell you in corporate world, most of the issues, if you listen for a few minutes, somebody will come to you with a problem, a worker will come to you with a problem. You just give few minutes, talk to him. Automatically after 5 minutes, he'll say, my issue is sorted out, I'm happy. He'll go back and he'll be a productive worker. So this listening is a very important requirement in our HR field. Not only the HR field, this has got dimension to the family and to the society. Most of the family issues at family starts from a non-listening mode. If we can listen, if we can communicate, most of the issues we can sort out. Teamwork is no doubt is going to be a key determinant for being a winner, being a successful person. Because whatever individual strength we have got as a person, as a professional, unless we work as a team, when it comes to an organization, there are so many people with so many skill sets. So when we align together, and then this team is able to bring a lot of innovative thoughts. We need teams with heterogeneous nature, not with homogeneous nature. We need teams with heterogeneous nature. So teamwork, no doubt, is going to be a great component for taking any system, any organization in the progress path. Walk the talk. Dear upcoming HR leaders, this is a very powerful point of walk the talk. We need to always walk the talk rather than, say something and do something else. That is not acceptable in the corporate world. Not only in the corporate world, I'm sure in your B schools also this is very important. As a person, now we are all looking at quality people. When we come to a campus for hiring a person or HR or any of the technical departments, that is also very, very important. Quality person. Am I getting a quality guy to my organization? So what is quality? He's a guy, he walks the talk. Whatever he says, he will do. Whatever he is doing, he say. There cannot be any gap. Very, very important point from a practical perspective. Walk the talk. Never give up attitude. Issues are bound to happen across. But we want guys who are very, very focused, very, very aggressive, and they will never give up. Issues will come. Problems will come up one after the other. Are you going to run away? No. A true professional, a true HR professional will stand strong there. And the team will be behind him to support him. So team support is there and he's there at the front, not at the back. So never give up attitude is another quality I strongly recommend for upcoming budding HR professionals. At times you need to take very tough decisions also. Now COVID issues are happening. You might be hearing a lot of judgments happening. Companies are going for a salary cut. Some companies are giving certain percentage, 30%, 50%, 70%. So these are all tough decisions actually, because the employee has got a family. When you take certain decisions, his family budget is getting affected. So as HR professionals, for part of the business, running program. You may have to take certain tough decisions, but my appeal is when you take tough decisions, keep the parties deeply informed, properly informed. You need to communicate. Why are we taking such a decision? Are we able to logically give some clear direction to the people? Why? If the why is very clear, there is no problem. Suppose when you don't communicate, when the why is not or why is feeble, you will end up in various other issues. Develop this quality of taking tough calls in your professional life, in your personal life, and in your social life. Going with that is move away from the comfort zone. At some point of time, we get into a bit of a comfort level. Things are all on a very remote mode. So maybe we'll have to break that. Some of us do that, or some period of time, we need to do that. If you feel it is all monotonous, routine, all under control, no. You have to do something different on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Are you doing something different? Are you innovating? Or you are doing the same thing again and again? Then you get the same result and you don't reach anywhere. If you want to climb the ladder of success as a winner, you need to move away from your comfort zone. Get into areas where you are not comfortable. Uncomfortable areas you need to explore. Uncomfortable routes you have to explore. I'm assuring you success is guaranteed there. Today's organizations, we look at future readiness. Not only organizations, even individuals also. If you look at Walmart and Amazon, their business model is totally different. Walmart, they used to come out of the big showroom and big facility. But Amazon has taught us you don't require big showrooms in the cities. You require big godowns in suburbs where the rent is low, expenses are low, you get cheap labor. So these are some thoughts we need to seriously look at. Are we ready for the future upcoming activities? Are the models up to date? Or it is going to be a problem? Is it too fatty so that you will not be able to move ahead? So maybe you need to look at not the Walmart model, maybe the Amazon model for taking the business forward. As professionals, question the status quo. You are in a college or you might join an organization on a later date. Please go there. There are a lot of practices. Some are good practices. Some may not be that level great practices. So question the status quo. Bring in change. Is it the best way of doing things? Is there a better way of doing things? Please examine. I'm sure once you do that, as a professional, you will get noticed. Your CEO will notice you. Your business heads will notice you. They'll say, here is a guy who is different. This is what we are looking at from HR. So please start looking at questioning the status quo and making changes which are good for the future of the organization. You will agree with me, all of you, speed of response. Today, things are happening at a very fast pace. Whatever he spoke yesterday, it is not relevant today. Today we are talking certain things. Maybe after 2 hours, it won't be relevant, or tomorrow it won't be relevant. That's the way things are changing. And that is expected from each one of us also. We need to move very fast. We need to respond very fast to requirements. Like I said in the beginning, certain things we need to do yesterday. That's the speed at which we need to move, or speed at the rate of light, and various thoughts are coming up. We need to be moving at a very fast pace in today's world. Along with speed, flexibility is very important. If we are adamant, we can't survive in today's competitive world. We need to be flexible. I will emphasize you need to have a very strong backbone. When it comes to issues, take a very clear stand, well-informed, well-studied, data-based approach, but flexibility. We take decisions on consensus. If the group says this is good for the organization, if they're getting convinced, please go into that decision and immediately implement that point rather than be a block there. So flexibility is also very, very critical for becoming a winner. We already spoke about coping with changing technology across. Now it is a digital world and all of us are aligned. Even my daughter who is studying in the 3rd standard, even I see her aligning very well with the technology. So age is not a factor now, irrespective of whether somebody is 6 years or 60 years or 70 years, people are all getting aligned into the technology mode. That is where the future is. My advice to all of you is follow simple systems, whether it is in your life, personal life, or professional life. Don't complicate things. We might know many things, but don't complicate with your knowledge. What will work in the long run, what I have seen is simple systems, not complex systems. Complex systems will never sustain, but simple systems will remain. It's easy to copy, it is easy to implement, and it is easy to move ahead. And you get fast results also. So when you think about systems, develop simple systems which are easy to practice. I'm sure all of you have got good experience, whether you are 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 50 years, it doesn't matter, or 50, 60 years, whatever is your age. There is something called the intuition, the sixth sense. Always listen to that. There's a book written by Mr. Kochimsa Chitlapulli. He talks about management is equal to practical wisdom plus common sense. Management is equal to practical wisdom plus common sense. So I want to emphasize on that common sense. That's intuition. So always listen to your sixth sense, your intuition. That will give you new directions to take decisions and march ahead in life. If you look at getting a job, your IQ will get you the job. Your intelligent quotient, IQ, will get you the job. But what will keep you in your job? I can tell you it is your EQ, your emotional quotient. Are you a balanced guy when it comes to emotional disturbances? Are you able to balance? Or you're totally an emotional person where you are totally inconsistent. Consistently, are you inconsistent? That will not work. You need to be consistently consistent in your approach. So that is where the importance of emotional quotient. You need to balance your emotions. You need to study points and take balanced, well-informed decisions in your professional life. Of course, you need to inspire others as a leader, as a winner. There will be a lot of people working with you in the team. So you have to give inspiration to them. The mood, that swings at a very fast pace. Today morning, somebody's mood is very good, but afternoon mood goes for a toss. So as a leader, as a team member, we need to connect with them. We need to inspire them. We need to talk to them, find out what is disturbing them. So I see a lot of scope for counseling of employees, whether at the leadership level or counseling, and even counseling at the lower level is also very important. Even for an operator, an issue of absenteeism or a misbehavior, there might be issues with regard to various problems that he is facing. He's not able to manage his emotional quotient. So we need to connect with them. We need to give them right input and inspire them so that they become positive people. Especially if you work in a sales-driven company. I can recollect one of my companies used to be a previous organization used to be a sales-driven company. This is very important because the mood things are happening at a very fast pace. So a positive talk, few positive messages will inspire the guy to a great level. So the full day he's charged. So next day morning again some more. So as HR professionals, as upcoming HR professionals, keep this point in mind. We need to inspire others, charge them up, motivate them, give them very, very positive thoughts and inputs. Can we make our employees always on a positive frame? Can we keep that culture in the organization? A very positive culture. It's not easy, but as champions, as catalysts, it is our job, it's our duty, and it's our role to see that people are always on an inspirational mode, on a charged mode. When it comes to all this, risk taking is very important in an organization. So certain companies, they really encourage. They say that you can go wrong. Absolutely no problem. One time you can commit a mistake. Maybe second time also. But don't repeat it as a pattern. So we have to encourage people taking risk. Calculated risk. Then only innovation will happen. Company has to support. I know one organization where they used to celebrate failure of a person. When people fail, when they do certain things and if they fail, they are given a lot of appreciation. It is being highlighted. You know the gain in that? No other employee in the organization will repeat the same mistake. Actually, company is going to save a lot of money. And it is documented also. So and so did some particular work and he failed in that area. So nobody will take that route. So that is also another way of encouraging, failures, encouraging people to take risk, giving them that empowerment to move ahead. Today is we are on a global village. Sitting in Cochin, I'm connecting with so many people. So all of us are connecting. Maybe global connects are happening. So we need to have a global mindset. Think local and act. Think global, act local. That is what is required. Because whatever happened in China, after a few weeks, that has come to all the countries across the globe, including our small Kerala, including our own places. Corona has come in, right? So that means whatever is happening in any part of the world, that is going to impact the other part of the world very fast. Earlier, it used to take time, but today we don't have that time frame. It happens so fast. It reaches across the population very fast. To be successful and to be a winner, we need to be innovators. If you look at Google as an organization, they came out with a driverless car. What a great wonder. Cars can move without a person. And the beauty is, if a Google-less car operates, accidents will be zero. There won't be any accidents, no deaths happening because of this vehicle hitting somebody. Because the system is tuned in such a way that it controls accidents. So I think it has got a lot of positive sides. Maybe you'll talk about lack of getting employment for people in a country like India, but countries where the population is less or aging population challenge is there, this Google driverless car, etc., will be a great option for people. And their accidents are also zero. There are a lot of advantages. I already mentioned about adding value to the bottom line of the organization. Not only the bottom line, wherever you are, please add value. In the B school, are you adding value? Are you able to do something in that direction? Please think about it. Be a continuous learner. I'm very happy to note that you're all actively getting involved, because I was told by Anand, we got more applicants this time. Huge numbers came in. From that, we further shortlisted. We had 2-3 levels of elimination process. So I would like
Yes,
to
sir, very much. Yes.
I'd like to appreciate all of you. You're all real winners, actually, because you opted for this learning program. And happy to note that now all of you are present for each day session. So this is a very good quality, and this never stops. This doesn't stop today. This has to be a continuous program. Every day we have to learn. Age is not 58 years. The day you stop learning, that is your retirement age. So every day, please learn. And learning happens from where? From each one around us. It can happen from a security officer, security guard. It can happen from a housekeeping person. It can happen from a canteen boy, a sales executive, anyone. Don't think learning happens only from the top, only happens from the boss, only happens from the managing director of the company. No, it can happen from anyone in the ecosystem. Friends, we need to work with a lot of passion. That is also very, very important. Passion means when you do this particular work, you get more and more energy. My example for passion is great singer Yesudas. Yesudas has become a singer. Now he can sing for hours and hours together. He doesn't get bored. He doesn't get tired. Instead, he's earning name, money, fame, everything. So that is what passion is. So whatever is our choice in life, that has to be connected with our passion. We should enjoy and do it so that we never get tired. So I can proudly say, being in HR, most of us, we really enjoy what we do. We don't know how days are going on. I can say 30 years, when I look back, I don't know how it went. I really enjoyed each and every moment and each and every day. Still continue to enjoy that. I will talk little about psychological life positions. This is something connected with transactional analysis. If we want to be a successful person, a winner, we need to develop a certain psychological life position. That is called I am okay, you are okay stage. In psychological life position, there are 4 positions that is being recommended. One is I am okay, you are okay. Second is I am okay, you are not okay. Third is I am not okay, you are okay. And fourth one is I am not okay, you are not okay. So the first one is what is required. in our transaction with others, in our interaction with others, whether in organization or any system where we operate, can we develop an I am okay, you are okay situation? The moment you get into that framework, it's easy to communicate, easy to relate with people, and easy to move ahead. And you will be a more successful winner there. But if you have developed any one of the other qualities, I am not okay, you are not okay, and all, that will block our communication process. We are not able to move ahead in our life. So from this, I want to appeal to all of you. Let us develop an I am okay, you are at a stage in all our interactions, in all our thought process. Other things are not recommended. I have just put it for your academic interest. I'll tell you some other tips for making people like you. There are 6 ways to make people like you. Very important. Be genuinely interested in other people. When you meet a person, we have to be genuinely interested. We have to go to him, talk to him, find out his interest, and start communicating with him. A smile is a very important and a powerful tool. When you smile, the other person also will smile at you. When you frown at somebody, automatically they also frown at you. So it is always good to have a smiling face. And psychologically, the psychologists have already mentioned that when you smile, a lot of positive reactions are happening in your body. So it's good for your body also. So it will improve your immune system. It will make you a more happy person, a pleasant person, and you will be always healthy. You will be always happy. You will be radiating positive energy. So smile is a very good gift of God. We need to smile wherever we are. Call people by name. That's also very good. If you can call the name, if you can remember the name, that some of the HR people used to practice, but what is happening now is with the numbers going up, it is very difficult to remember the names of employees. And again, churn of people also is very high in most of the companies. So that's a little difficult, but in the organization context or even our network context, we can remember the name and call the name. It will create a better connect with the person. Already I talked about listening skill. In listening, we gain more. In talking, we actually don't gain much. So be a good listener. Talk in terms of the other person's interest. Because each one of us have got different likes and interests. We need to find out what is the interest of the other person. Maybe your colleague, your subordinate, or your boss. You can find out their interest and relate that way. You can have very effective communication with the person. Most of us want to be treated as a very VIP. That's a very, very common fact, actually. All of us want to be treated as important person, a VIP. So can you give that important feel to each one when we meet and greet them? I will talk about some of the positive feelings that we need to carry in our life. Happiness is a very, very important positive feeling that we need to carry as a winner. Humility. Whatever is your achievement in life, we have seen a lot of people who are humble. Very, very important trait of a winner. Simplicity. Are we simple or are we complicated, multi-directional personalities? I will recommend simplicity. Love and affection for our fellow beings, our co-workers, our colleagues. Gratitude. We are in the current situation because of efforts from so many people. Maybe our parents, maybe our relatives, our good friends, our friends in the corporate world, our professors in the college. So we need to be keeping a gratitude approach to them. Developing a sense of self-confidence is again a very important thing, because somebody would like to interact with another confident guy. So we need to be on a confident plane always. Be confident, radiate confidence in our communication, in our presence. Are we able to give that confidence to others? We need to be sympathetic in our approach. Along with sympathy, I recommend empathy also, no issue. Are we an enthusiastic person? When people talk to us, are they getting enthusiasm? Are they getting energy? Even in hiring, let me tell you, in HR, we strongly look at the energy level of the person. When we recruit a candidate, any function, I think that energy level is very important. Are we able to give that energy, radiate that energy, pass on that energy? Very, very important trait in life to be successful. Of course, with empathy, I already mentioned faith in God is also we need to be believing. SQ is very important. Spiritual quotient is very, very important. Irrespective of religion, I'm not talking about religion. Being aligned to that supreme power, that will give us a lot of strength and energy to march ahead. Let us see the meaning of life. Life is a gift. We need to accept it. Life is a duty. We need to perform it with a lot of commitment. Life is a song. If it is a song, we need to sing it. Life is an opportunity. Please, friends, remember it's an opportunity. We have to use it properly. If you don't use this opportunity will come and knock at some other door. So always remember that opportunity will knock at our door only once. Grab it and take the best advantage of this opportunity. Life is a journey. You need to complete it with a lot of fulfillment. Life is a goal, achievement. Fix certain goals in life and move on. Success is guaranteed. I'll talk about a few more golden rules for a winning personality. I'm sure all of you want to be, developing a winning personality. Maybe you have it, but you need to fine tune it. You need to slightly polish it. What is recommended is wake up before sunrise, early morning, no, not after 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Wake up before sunrise so that you are charged in the morning itself. Compliment 3 people every day. If you can appreciate whatever number, 2 or 3 or 5 people, that will be good. Be the first to say hello when you meet a person. Take the initiative. Be the first to say hello to that person. Don't wait for the other person to come and say hello to you. Celebrate achievements. Already we discussed about that. Maybe in our family, the college, at our organization, we need to celebrate birthdays, achievements, any small achievements, celebrate and make it a great occasion for people to come together and enjoy. Watch your favorite channel on TV, listen to favorite music. All these are methods for improving your personality. And some sort of jokes, if you can crack, that will be also good to connect with people. Very important point is either you avoid negative people or be away from negative people. At times it is difficult to avoid. Don't get into a negative trend. Don't get into negative talks. Try to keep safe distance and move ahead in the positive path. Count your blessings. So many blessings. And I'm really worried because a lot of social issues are happening, including suicides. People don't count their blessings. They don't know what they have achieved in their life. For a moment, they forget all their good achievements and they think, there is nothing more. Those are all the desperate moments in life. Suppose they count their blessings. Suppose each one of us count our blessings. Make a list of blessings that we have got in our life so far. Great things, I think, we'll be so proud of what we have done so far. And that will give us energy for doing more things in the future too. Already we spoke about a smile a while, miles and miles a smile will follow. That is what people say. And please believe you are a unique person. Anand, you are unique. Roshni, you are unique. Sudhi, you are unique. Each one of you are unique. There is no one similar to you. People say there are 9 similar faces, but in terms of personality, in terms of the traits, there is no one similar to us. Each one across the globe, they are unique. Each person is unique. Realize that and believe in that. Of course, you can relax your body and mind through meditation. Physical exercises are good. Meditation in the morning, maybe 10-20 minutes meditation. In fact, I do practice that. It is really good, yoga, whatever. Because, along with your body, I think more focus has to be on the mind. That is what is emerging now. And please, my dear friends, always believe that you are responsible for your happiness, not any other person. If you say, I'm not happy because somebody did something to me, no. We are responsible for our happiness, each one of us. Our happiness depends on our transactions. It is with us, not with the third party. Please understand that. If you practice these golden rules, I'm sure you can further fine-tune your personality. Let us see a bit on time management. Time management is about managing oneself in accordance to time. There are actually 4 types, gradings in time. A, B, C, D grading. A means A quadrant talks about important and urgent. B quadrant talks about important and not urgent things. C is about not important and urgent things. D is about not important and not urgent things. So can we have a grading when there are many things to be done? Because all of us have got only 24 hours of time. So we need to manage our time. Can we do a grading like this ABCD and focus on these A items, important and urgent? And then maybe on B item and likewise develop a tracker. We can manage our time better. So I have seen in the corporate world people preparing a to-do list of activities on a daily basis. They prepare a to-do list. Maybe even in your campus, you can make a to-do list so that you know you are very, very focused. What you're supposed to do today, what you're supposed to do tomorrow morning, so that you get focused onto that, so that you can manage time better. Time and tide wait for none. Please remember that. If you are failing to plan, we are planning to fail. I will take you through a couple of proverbs that may give you some positive energy. By indirections, find directions out. In our life, at times, you know, by indirections, we don't get a direction, but from that indirections, we find directions out. That's a very important thing. By indirections, you find directions out. At times, you are stuck. Where to go? Which direction to take? So those indirections will show you another direction. So there's a very famous proverb. Better light a candle than curse the darkness. You might have heard about it, but it is very, very important that we light the candle. We become, you know, that positive energy in that room. Always we can say it's full dark in this room. That is not what is expected from a professional, not from an HR professional. Are we able to put that light on and say that, yes, here is the light. Please come to this light and guide people ahead. With God, I'm a hero. Without God, I'm a zero. If you have God also traveling with you, wonders can happen in your life, in our life. And friends, please always remember, whatever your mind can dream, you can achieve. Don't put restriction on your mind. You know, I will go only to this. I will work only in Kerala. I will go only to this particular place. No, please don't limit your dreams. Please dream realistic dreams, not daydreams. I don't mean daydreams. Go for realistic dreams. You can do wonders in your life, in your professional life, in personal life, in your social life. Success of being a winner, I will give the dimension to your winning in professional life, in your personal life, and in your social life. All the three dimensions have to be properly taken care. That is the definition of success. That is the definition of being a winner. So I will just show you one more slide on importance of change. Progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is a famous saying by George Bernard Shaw. So we need to constantly change. Change is the only thing that is constant in our life. So be positive to change, respond to change, and move ahead of change, because change is the only thing that is constant in our life. One more slide on HR mantra. This is something I've coined actually. An employee should feel happy to come to work. In an organizational context, an employee should feel happy to come to work. An employee should be happy and productive while at work, because we want a happy person in the organization, and this happy person has to be productive. And in the evening, we want the employee to go home and spread happiness. In short, our success as HR people depends on whether we are able to bring in a work-life balance in our organization. Through this HR mantra, that is what I'm targeting. So every day, this is a continuous journey. Try to bring in this great mantra into practice. I am sure we will be able to create a very, very successful organization, a winning organization, where a lot of people are always on a winning mode. That is all from my presentation now. Thank you very much for your active and patient listening. And based on the sharing, if you have any queries, we can further discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johnson, sir. So I request our interns, our team members to use this opportunity to ask any questions that you want. It can be in connection with this particular presentation, or if you want to know anything from his experience, you can ask that as well.
Is there any questions here, Anand?
In the chat, as of now, there is no question.
Okay, no problem.
But if you want to ask any questions, you can shoot right away. I mean, you can unmute
Sir, I
yourself.
have a question.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Trita, no? Trita is speaking, right? You can tell your name.
Yes, sir.
Raise your hand,
Tirtha,
tell
sir.
your name. Right.
Tirtha,
Tirtha,
sir.
Tirtha. Yeah.
So you told like now everything is getting digitalized. So at the same time, the manual works will be very less, no? So
Right.
how much we should be proactive to overcome this situation?
Okay. Very good question. If you remember, maybe I can say 20 years back and all, people always used to talk about, computerization.
Yes.
People say when if computers come, all the jobs are going to be taken away. So people won't be getting jobs. That was a thinking, I can say maybe 20 years back, that was a thinking. But now,
True.
on a realistic side, where are we? Can we think of anything without a computer or a laptop or a digital media? All the software companies across the globe. So that means that was an apprehension at that point of time. With computerization, actually we got more opportunities. Similarly, with the elimination of some of these jobs, mundane, routine jobs, that will go away. But a lot of other new avenues will emerge. If you ask me which are the avenues, it will be difficult to spell out at this point of time. But already we have seen that, and I'm 100% sure and confident that that is going to happen in the future also. Jobs will be there, but the skill sets may be different. So that is where we talk about upskilling and things like that. So opportunities will be there, especially in the context of HR also. Don't worry, those who are having a passion for HR, there will be enough opportunities. But I spoke in my presentation about things like mobility. If you think you will take a job only in Chennai, where you are currently put up, there's going to be a challenge. You may have to move to Bangalore or Hyderabad or Dubai, wherever. So that mobility etc. has to happen. So our flexibility is a very important aspect. We need to be flexible, adaptable. Automatically, opportunities will come, and there will be more opportunities coming, and that is what I can tell you at this moment.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, sir. Good evening. My name is Minhas.
Yes, Manas.
Sir, can you please suggest some of the good leadership qualities an HR should have while during this COVID period and this work from home scenarios?
Okay. I can talk about leadership qualities, not only for HR, any leader,
Okay, yeah. Any
Actually, in an
leader during this work
organization,
from home.
in an organization, we need leaders, whether it is in HR or any department. So there are various requirements. One would be, I spoke about perseverance. I don't know whether I've noticed that point. We need to have a lot of perseverance, even from a COVID work from home concept also, this is very, very important. We need to have a lot of perseverance. We need to have a lot of patience. We need to have very active listening skills. Are we good listeners? Again, we need to communicate with the team also. That is another challenge we are all facing now. Now, most of the employees are operating from home. So how do we connect with them? We don't see them. Otherwise, in the office, we used to meet them. Now, practically, they come maybe 50% time they are in office, 50% time they are at home. So how are we going to communicate to them about what is happening in the organization? That is very important. Let me tell you, in an organization, communication is the key. It is like blood in human body. Can a human body survive without blood? No. Similarly, in any organization, if the communication channels are not proper, organization will collapse. So we need to have very strong communication channel in the system, formal communication channels plus informal communication channels. I think all this practice will bring in that positive vibe, especially in the COVID scenario.
So even I believe in case of Synergy, your head office is like in two buildings, in same area but in two different buildings. I believe HR is in one building, marketing is in different.
Right.
So I don't think it will be difficulty for you, like you're managing all these people.
Right. We are able to meet people, but again, some people operate from home, so we are not able to meet them. So we do have connect programs. We contact them, we call them up and ask them whether they are comfortable, whether they are facing any problems. whether they have any financial constraints. We need to cover up all these areas. See, HR has to take the full picture. That is very important. Don't talk about a particular issue. You need to be a solution. Total solution provided to the employees. That is very important. Once you do that, and once the HR person or the HR team brings in that credibility, it is very easy to function. Wherever you see problems now, those credibility levels or credibility rankings are very low. That is why you see more issues coming up. But with COVID coming in, I think both the employees and employees have, their understanding levels and I'll say the tolerance level have gone up. And now things are pretty under control. That's what I can say. Right, Sudhir?
Hi, sir. This is Shruti here.
Yes, Shruti.
Sir, so I have a query regarding I'm okay, you're also okay concept, sir.
Yeah.
So with companies being forced to lay off or, put employees on bench,
Right.
so how is that going to work out, sir? I'm okay, you're also okay concept here.
See, let us take a company where somebody is put on bench. It might be a software company, right?
Yes, yes.
See,
Most
why somebody is put on bench? Because at that point of time, company doesn't have adequate work for that employee.
Correct.
So he or she is put on the bench, but company is ensuring that the person is properly taken care, especially with regard to the compensation and other aspects. They are taken care. There is no cut. And the moment an opportunity comes, they are put onto that project also. But this is important because certain companies, the headcount is very important. Projects come all on a sudden. I'm talking more from a IT background.
Yes.
So at that time, if they don't have the resource, they will lose the project. So they are actually putting them onto the bench, and they are not sitting idle there. In many companies, they are utilized for certain other jobs. They are given some sort of a training program. They are asked to do some training certification program. Even now, I'm seeing people during COVID time, the work, that the work intensity varies. So when the intensity is low, I'm seeing people, employees doing certain certification program. They are getting the certificates. So what I'm saying is, because of certain issues, they are put onto the bench, but it is up to the person to always say that, yes, I'm into problem, and, he can always keep on crying. But instead, can the employee take a positive step and do some certification program? Can he network with some people? Many things we can do. So what I want to say is, it is a mental attitude that we develop. Nobody is going to say that I am not okay, you are not okay. This is a stage each one of us can develop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
In spite of the negative, now all of us are experiencing COVID, right? So we can always say that everything is going bad, things are not good. No, each one of us, starting from me and each one of you, can we think positive? Can we develop a framework in our mind that it's going to be positive? This is for a short-term period. We are going to overcome. Vaccine will come, medicine will come. Maybe 1 year, 1.5 years down the line, we are going to be out. We are going to be coming out with flying colors. So that is an I am okay or okay stage.
Okay.
Somebody is telling you something, that's a different issue. What is the mindset that as a person, each one of us is developing? We can always develop I am okay. When I talk to you, I'm trying to practice this because I said something, walk the talk. Whatever I shared with you, it is not a slide presentation. Some of those things, most of the things, we are all trying to practice only. So develop a I am okay, you are okay stage. It is very important, even in family. Most of the issues in family emanates from that. I am okay, you are not okay. I am not okay, you are okay. All these are issues. You analyze any relationship, father son or husband wife, between children in the corporate world. So my humble appeal to all of you is that develop that stage in spite of the odds, in spite of the negatives. Develop that I am okay, you are okay stage. It is very powerful. That is a basic concept of transactional analysis.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
It is the control is within us, not with the third party.
True, very true, sir.
Right, Sudhi?
Thank
Good.
you, sir.
Hello, sir. This is Vaishnavi.
Vaishnavi, yes, Vaishnavi.
So I have a small doubt, sir. So if in HR field, it's basically like few roles are like connecting employees and employers.
Right.
So in that situation, if there is a situation where there is 100%, the problem is from employer side, the employees are there is a
Employer
problem.
side.
Yeah, from the employer side, the
Right.
employees are fully off. Everything is correct in their perspectives.
Mhm.
But as an HR, we are few people say in the current situation, I mean in the very natural situation,
Right.
we should support employers and we should convince employees to take it.
Right.
So how much ethical it is, sir?
See, I can tell you from my own experience, you can't say that, always the employers are right or always the employees are right. Okay.
Yeah, but if there is a situation in that case, like
Yeah.
everyone knows that employer is not the proposal which he's giving is not acceptable. It's
Right.
against the human values or something. Like
Right.
if in this COVID situation, people are asked to work. If it's office, there are some working hours. But
Correct.
now since it's work from home, people are forced to work 24 hours. They don't
Right.
have any barriers. They
Right.
are asked to log in for certain hours, but the work is being for the whole day.
That's right.
So all these situations, this is not practically, ethical is what we feel, no, sir. But how can we help as an HR to those employees? Because few people are already in stressed. Few people are in containment zones. Apart
Mhm.
from this, they have to manage all these. As an HR, how can we help them?
See, basically, we need to, have very open dialogue with our employers also. Like, whether it is a managing director of a company, we need to constantly update our management. The success of an HR person depends on whether we are able to communicate as to what is happening in the organization. At times, if the boss may get communication from a third party prior to the HR person communicating. So, as an HR, we need to study as to what is happening in the organization, update your superiors on a regular basis. The first hand information has to go from HR. So automatically, the HR will be able to influence those decision makers and tell them, we are asking employees to work for more time. There's going to be issues. You can collect some data from employees, present it to the employer. So that is where data orientation is also important. If you have data, let's say out of your 100 employees, let's say 50 employees are having a problem, then the issue is taking a different dimension. So HR people has to, one, feed the data at the right time, feed the correct data, and feed with the data backup. We need to talk. At times, people don't have the data; they just go and say something, so people don't listen. So that is where I said HR as a function, we have to have that credibility, create that credibility in the organization. Once we create the credibility, it is easy to operate. We will be able to influence our people. Persuasion. I spoke about persuasion also in my presentation. We'll be able to persuade. I've also done it. Many times maybe the boss might say something totally different. Then over a period of time, you study the issue, reflect on that, give the feedback, and then we are able to implement it in a positive way so that employees are also taken into confidence. And at times we have to be, if you don't take a logical call, there is going to be a problem. Whether it is the employer or the employee, are we bringing in the logical dimensions? Logically, if something is wrong, then you try to implement it, it will flop only. So always try to, be logical, convince both the parties, not only with the employer, but the employees also. Are we having informal meetings with the employees? Some sort of a pulse, you can say some pulse detection programs. You can have informal chat with employees. So you'll get to know what they are thinking. All this data we need to be capturing and sharing with the appropriate people. I'm sure these issues we can address. And if the HR person is not able to address, it's going to be a big issue. Let me tell you, Vaishnavi, your question is very valid. So We have to influence. Let me tell you, for influencing your people, you need to have the data. You need to have the connect. You need to be with them, both. You should not be branded as an employer's person or an employee's person. You, like you said, a proper bridge. If you are a proper bridge, I'm sure journey will be smooth. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Hi, sir. Daya here.
Right. Yeah, there.
Sir, HR is, most of the people are telling HR is people's person.
Yeah.
Before lockdown, if any queries or problems come, HR can directly interact with the employees. But now, in this scenario, it's not possible. Then is it challenge?
See, that is why I
Is
said
it challenging?
no, it is challenging. Now, physically, we are not able to meet, right? Even I can tell you this Zoom program, suppose it was a normal time, probably we would have done it in NIPM Cochin office where you will come physically and we would have done it that way. We are not able to do that. Because of the problem, now I am seeing people from Chennai, from Bombay, from various parts of Kerala. See, we are able to connect. See the opportunity here, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Very much. Very much.
Absolutely true.
So definitely, there is an opportunity in each calamity also. Now we are encashing on that. And coming back to your question, we can connect with our employees through, online sessions. We can connect. We can bring up and talk to them, and they can also talk to us. If the organizational culture is an open culture, you don't have to call them. Employees also will call the respective people, whether it is the managing director or the HR head or whatever, whoever it is. They will also call us and tell us, I have a problem. I have some financial constraint because of salary cut. That's a problem. Or I have some medical issue. Can I get some support from the organization? So it's all this thing. I can quote one organization like Malayalam Manorama. They care beyond this thing. They care for their employees. Not only for their employees, even their family members, especially with regard to bypass and things like that. If there's an issue for a family member, the employee's father or mother, they go beyond the policy and help them. So such models are existing in our system. So connecting is not an issue. Of course, there are physical barriers, but now we are all overcoming through all this, webinars and through social media. We are able to overcome that.
Sir, I had a question.
Yes, Resham, yeah.
Yeah, so you talked about talking in terms of other person's interest. So there might be some conflicting opinions among two different people, right? So how do we deal with that conflict?
That is why you have to, Reshmam, you have to find out the real like of that person through various interaction and talk about that. If you talk about the area where he's not interested, he's going to end up in a clash. So find out the other person's interest. If you want to develop good positive relationships, it is important that we develop, find out what the other person likes. I call it, opening an emotional bank account. Like your bank account in a bank, try to open an emotional bank account. That is when you share more about, about your things and more about that person, we develop a very healthy and very strong bonding. It's an emotional bank account. That will help us in a long way in moving ahead with healthy relationships and strong relationships and strong teams.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, sir. Ashley here. So I have a doubt.
Yeah.
You have said that in some organizations there are situations where if one employee makes any failure, they will celebrate that situation. In sometimes, it can be to make them mentally down to work the.
It is not actually. I'll tell you. In a company, I'm sure somebody, Mr. Agustin of Kochi Metro, might have covered you on Kaizens, right? Kaizens. There is a session on Kaizen. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Kaizen is about the positive changes in the company, in the organization. So there we assemble together and we celebrate and we appreciate and we give some momentum and things like that. Similarly, I'm very serious in saying this point. There are some organizations where they really appreciate the failure of the person. It is a culture. It is not to ridicule him. Mr. So and so did this experiment, and in this process, he went in this direction, and it is we are not able to move ahead. So people, the bosses will come and appreciate them. Like a Kaizen, how you appreciate a Kaizen, you appreciate a particular failure, and you recognize it, and you document it, so that tomorrow nobody will repeat it, and there will be people doing similar other mistakes. Only through mistakes some innovations will happen also. At times innovation happens through mistakes also. So this is a totally different context. This is a totally different work culture I am talking. Some of the leading Fortune 500 companies are doing this, celebrating failures of employees or the work they are doing. It's not a normal mistake. Even some companies, they don't even punish for mistakes. They say don't repeat it. I'm talking about taking risk and doing something different. People fail. When you support, especially Google is another example. They really support. In Google, every day, 10% of the time has to be for some innovation, doing something different. Each Googleian is given that assignment. 10% of the time is utilized for doing some innovative work. They may fail, absolutely no problem. You go and see Google Office, the way they have done the layout, the facilities there, it is amazing. So that's a culture I'm talking about, actually, and it's working. It's a U-turn, right? But it will give positive results. Thank you.
And Johnson sir, with your
Thank you.
permission, I have actually shared one chat in the chat box. I mean,
Right.
I have shared a link in the chat box.
Yeah.
It is a news about how 3M celebrates failure and how
Exactly.
3M gives opportunity for their employees to fail, and how
Yeah.
they are fostering innovation. So
Yeah,
whenever
yeah.
whenever you give your employees a bandwidth to try and fail, they will try and get the best out of it. So please do refer this link whenever you get time.
Good, Anna.
Over
Good,
to you,
Anna.
Johnson
I'm
sir.
happy that
Yes.
you're very sportive. You're very,
Thank
very sportive. So that's immediately you would get it. That's the
Yes, sir. I
quality
do
of HR
remember reading.
our people
Yeah.
are.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Right. That's very nice. So I'm very happy to see all of you. You all have chosen this field of HR. And this is a very wonderful field. You will really enjoy each day in this field. Of course, don't think it's a bed of roses. Don't expect so. But there will be thorns. What gives you strength is the problems, the issues, the failures. That will make you a very strong person. So please march ahead. You have taken the right field. There are a lot of people to guide you in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in South India, of course, across India, because I'm little connected across. So there are a lot of good people, good HR professionals. Please have a mentor. Please get in touch with some mentors in your locality. That will be better. It can be in your locality or anywhere. Please connect with some people and take their guidance, especially when you take certain decisions with regard to your job, with regard to your job changes, with regard to the challenges that you face. Please have at least one mentor with whom you feel it's worth interacting. That will give you the right direction, because it's like a ship. A ship without radar will get into problem. So I want each one of you to have a proper radar. If you have a proper radar, always you will move in the right direction and you will make the right choices. Because at times we are HR people, we also take wrong decisions, let me tell you. So have a proper radar. That is your mentor. That is my strong suggestion to each one of you. Some of you have got mentors, no problem.
Yes, sir.
In the course of time, you can develop mentors. Can be in the academic field. Even now in the college, I'm sure you will have mentors. When you join the organization, it can be in the organization or outside. That is where the relevance of networking with the professional bodies like NIPM and all will come into play. You will get a lot of people with whom you can interact at any point of time, and get a lot of information. Any other questions?
So, this is Sandra.
Sandra.
Like, how can we handle a employee or a team member who's not contributing or who is improper, sir?
Okay.
Not contributing anything.
Right. See, any organization, you have proper, you need to look at whether each member has got proper KRAs and KPIs. KRA is nothing but key result areas and KPIs is key performance indicators. So you have to have proper KRAs for each and every member in your team. And you should define the frequency at which you are going to evaluate, maybe on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis. You evaluate that, then you know if somebody is not able to pick up, you need to definitely do some counseling and support and push them ahead. Maybe it's lack of some understanding of some area. Once you have a proper KRA, it will be very easy to bring him on par with others. Or you may have to give them some additional coaching, ask them to read some book or do some additional project, give them special assignment. Automatically they will pick up. I have done it and it will work. So important thing is, if they are not clear about their role, this can happen. So in any organization, for each and every employee, there has to be clear, documented role clarity. Develop KRAs and KPIs. Monitor it on a frequent basis. Give feedback. Guide them. Coaching, counseling, all this will really work. Okay, Sandra?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, no.
Hi, sir. I'm Reshma. Sir, could
Your
you
hand.
share an experience
Raise your hand. Reshma, okay.
Yes, sir. Could you share an experience where EQ is more important than being logically correct and intelligence? Could you share such an
On a
situation or
practical level,
experience?
as I mentioned, IQ is, IQ gets us the job because, unless you have certain percentage of mark, you will not get admission for your MBA program. And even in some companies, when they do campus placement, they say all the semesters you should be at 70%, etc., etc. So if you fulfill those criteria, then you get into the initial entry. So that is why I said IQ will get you the job. But when it comes to a job situation, especially in HR, certain things you can't predict. There are a lot of areas which is not into the prediction mode, unpredictable areas. There, you may have to take certain decisions and move very fast. Okay. So that is where, emotionally, if you are totally bonded to something, you will not be able to take a decision fast. Okay. What will others think? All those things will come into play. But you have to totally unfreeze and take certain decisions. Maybe it can happen in an employee, issue. Maybe some employee unrest. That time, nothing is being an IR situation. Things are not being documented. You don't know how a mob will respond. The response of a mob is not documented anywhere. They can respond in any way. That times you may have to take certain decisions. For example, in a company, there's a policy, we don't call any external people for any issues inside. You may have to call the police. The policy is that, we don't call anybody inside, especially police is not being called in. That moment, you may have to take a decision. Yes, there is going to be an unrest at the gate. If the police doesn't come, they will force inside and create damage inside. You have to take an emotional call. Yes, break that rule. You may have to take a call from your end. You may not be time to discuss with the managing director or anybody. So that is one situation. There are similar, many situations. You may have to just break your, bonding and take certain calls. Emotions. Okay. So that's it. Depending upon the need in HR, that is another beauty of HR. You get a lot of opportunity to take certain very innovative and bold decisions. So keep your emotions apart. Promoting two people, both are reasonably good performers. At times, due to certain requirement of the organization, A will get promoted, B may not get promoted. It's an emotional decision. So that is a very important, that's why I said you need strong guts. You have to be a confident guy. You have to take bold decisions. That's a requirement in nature. That only people will value HR also. The board or the management will value HR if only we take certain decisions and demonstrate to the management, yes, this guy is capable of taking bold decisions. So many situations, Reshma, we come across. These two are some live examples that I
Yes,
thought
sir.
I'd
Thank
share.
you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I'm Preeti, sir.
Preeti, yes.
Sir, in the presentation, you talked about the positive feelings like happiness, simplicity. What are all the negative or negativity which we have to avoid? Like,
We have to, yeah. I showed you only the positive aspects. The question is over?
yes, sir. Yes.
See, I spoke only about the positive things because I'll tell you a realization in life. Whatever you focus, you will get that. So that is why purposefully I didn't show. There is another slide on negative feelings. I didn't show because if I want to be happy, I can be happy. Think I'm happy and go ahead. If I want to be always on a sorrow, on an unhappy mode, that is a choice in life. So that is I never showed you that. Anger, all those things are negative emotions. So we can actually be on a positive frame. Take a well-informed call. I have to be happy. I want to be positive. I want to be spreading positive energy across. Take that call. Live in that. Then don't talk about negative. Purposefully, I didn't show you that slide because I don't want to influence you to that level. That is anger, hatred, pride. All these are negative emotions. Many, whatever is not listed there, those are all negative things. Focus in life. Please remember, focus on positive things. That will come to you. Whatever you focus, it will come to you. That is what is called telepathy and all. If you think about something negative thing that's going to happen in my life, that will happen. And on the contrary, if you think, yes, this positive is what happened, positive will happen. I'm telling you. About your job, if you dream now, I want to join X company. Please dream, dream and dream and dream. Work for that. Go to the site of that company. See what all things are listed there. You will get a job in that company. I'm assuring you that. So you whatever you think, it will happen to you. Like Shivakara said, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you cannot, you cannot. Simple. Our management guru, Shivakara's words. So always think you can. And you can. That's it. Be positive. So my one message is be positive always in your life. That's the takeaway from today's interaction. Be positive wherever you are. That will take you to make you a great winner, make you a successful person, make you a great leader. You name it, you are there. Right.
So, Johnson sir, it was a wonderful session. You have given different aspects. What you say? All aspects, a personality side, professional side, everything needed for a winner. And what should be the winner mindset? You have clearly given a direction to our interns. Johnson sir, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for the wonderful session. Thank you, sir.